Guess what? It's another week. It's what a week that was for this week. And I'll be honest with you, there's not been a huge amount of news. But there has been some news. So we will do our best to plod our way through it. Don't forget, later on we've got the American news update as well, which seems to be people's favourite bit of the show. So we're going to start with, we'll start with the floods in Pakistan. Now, the world's weather has gone to pot, as we all know. It's anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. You've got, floods in America, China, but Pakistan at the moment is the worst place for flooding. They reckon there's as much of Pakistan underwater than what there is land for the entire United Kingdom. That's how bad it is. And it's not under 2 or 3 feet of water, it's 4, 5, 6 foot of water, and it's probably going to get worse. Hi T, that's me. Hi JT, and hi Rach as well. Hope you're good. There's now a huge risk in Pakistan for disease as well. Obviously with the flood waters, there's no clean water, there's no sanitation, there's no nothing, there's animals and worse, thank you, in the water that are rotting, that have died. So there is going to be typhoid, malaria and various other bits and pieces as well that's going to come along and decimate Pakistan, and there's not a huge amount that we can do about this because it is such a massive area. Hundreds of thousands of people are affected. Millions. It's just tragic beyond belief. Already over 1,100 people have passed away, and many more are missing. It's just awful. I mean, we moan about our weather and stuff like that, but we've got nothing to worry about or moan about. However, in Spain, there is stuff going on there where the water has receded from reservoirs and old monuments have appeared. You can't really tell from that picture. Let's see if I can make it any bigger. Click on that. But that is like a Stonehenge type monument, ancient monument, which for some reason was allowed to be buried underwater. Mind you, it's preserved it, I suppose. Now the water's receded, it's come back again. Now when in the UK the water recedes after a drought or whatever, all you get is like old villages and churches and bridges and stuff like that. But in Spain, you're getting ancient monuments that have not been seen for many, many years indeed. So it's fascinating, but it also shows you the tragedy of what's going on there. So too much water in Pakistan, not enough water. It would be cool to go and see them before the water comes back. I mean, I want to go and see these villages if they appear up here, but at the moment our water supply is pretty good. So yeah, unfortunately, I'll say unfortunately, at least we haven't got a hosepipe or anything like that. But this is a weird thing. So Spain is suffering from a severe drought. Crops have failed left, right and centre. A few years ago there was a lettuce shortage because of the snow, but now there have hail which is the size of a tennis ball. Hail the size of a tennis ball. Sadly, it took the life of a small child, about 1 year old, and injured many people, including breaking bones, and obviously caused a lot of damage as well. But people say the weather isn't messed up, Donald Trump and all that, and I'm like, no, I think it's fair to say the weather is messed up. So we need to just calm it down a bit, and we need to sort out what we're doing. Now Biden reckons he's doing a lot. Even China have said they want to do something, but yeah, it's easy to say stuff, isn't it? It's whether they do it or not is the other thing. Hi Smiley Mac, yeah, you're not missed anything really. I've just talked about Pakistan and Spain having issues with weather. it's wind that keeps hail clouds. Imagine how much wind to keep them up. Yes, so they could form so massively. Talking of massive, the Artemis rocket was meant to take off and do a tour around the moon. It was going to do a close orbit and then go a wider orbit around the back of the moon, and that would have been the furthest that any rocket or machinery from Earth that could carry people has ever gone. Obviously we've sent stuff and satellites into deep space, but we've never set manned equipment that far. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a short little whiz around the moon, and then they're going to go right out away from the moon at the back of the moon. So it's the furthest that any vehicle that's capable of carrying humans has gone. I assume to check radiation and stuff like that, and then they're going to bring it back. But it's all unmanned and it's all untested. It was classed as a failure because it didn't take off at the weekend. Basically there was a problem with the engines. One of the engines was leaking, and there was a couple of other issues as well, and obviously it's a multi-billion-dollar rocket, so they want to make sure everything's okay. Anyway, it's predicted to take off tomorrow, weather permitting, and everything else permitting, weather mainly, I'll be honest with you. My favourite female in the whole planet, not, Liz Truss. You know, the one who's probably going to be our new Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. Hey, can't wait. Bring back Boris. She pulled out of a debate which Rishi Sunak, well, not a debate, an interview which Rishi Sunak had already done, and they'd agreed they were both going to do it. Buy a new kettle for £20, it will save you £10 a year. Oh yeah, that was bumbling Boris, wasn't it? Like I say, bring him back. That's sound advice. No, Liz Truss. There are not many people I dislike more than Liz Truss. Lewis Hamilton, Hitler, different reasons. But Liz Truss is up there, and she's got a new Prime Minister, and she wouldn't do an interview with the BBC, even though Rishi had done his interview with the BBC, because she's got no gumption about her. She's literally, Phoenix, she's got absolutely nothing about her whatsoever. She's come up with this brilliant plan, this new policy. You know, we're gonna do this, and it's going to be great, and blah blah blah. And everyone said, no, you can't do that because it's rubbish. The following day, I was misinterpreted, and that is not one of my policies. You cannot run a government like that. You've got to stick to decisions, even if they're the wrong ones. You can't just keep changing your mind. How many times has she changed her mind about everything? I mean, she stood against Brexit, but now she's a Brexiteer. I mean, it makes no sense. I give her, if she gets in, 6 to 12 months as Prime Minister, and she'll be gone. Either the Conservative Party, the best at the Conservative Party have written themselves out of winning the next election if they elect Liz Truss. I'm not saying Rishi Sunak is a much better person, but at least I trust him more than I trust her to make a decision and stick to it. Plus the stuff he said about the economy and the cost. Well, they're all a waste of space. The problem you've got is cost of living. Sorry, the problem you've got is all politicians these days are there for themselves. They're not there for the people, and you should be there for the people. That's why you're elected. You're not the boss. We are the boss of them. They should do what we say, and they should try and make our country as good as it can be, if not better than it was. But at the moment, it's just career politicians we seem to have, who are just there to make a name, get up there, and then retire, and then go around making millions, doing talks and stuff like that. You know, like what was he called? War criminal guy. How soon we forget? Labour leader. Oh yeah, him. Now he's gone. How do we trust anyone? Well, we can't trust any of them. That is the problem. I mean, it's the same in America as well, but more about America later. The problem you've got is a lot of the issues that Boris faced were beyond his control. or getting fired after what they do get sleep. Yes, Smiley, indeed. What they do is they come up with the leadership contestants. The MPs then whittle it down to 2, and then them 2 are the ones that one of them is going to be the MP. Now, the problem you've got is the majority of the people doing the voting are white, middle-aged, upper-class twits. I said twits. I didn't want to say twits, but I did say twits. And they are not going to vote for an Asian guy. End of. Plus, she is channeling Margaret Thatcher. She's no Margaret Thatcher. She's not even... Oh, I don't know. She's not even a Hilda Ogden. Never mind a Margaret Thatcher. We're going off 80s references. She's a... Oh... I'm moving to Antarctica. I'm moving to America. Oh, no. No. Have you not been watching my news in America? Why the hell would you want to go there? Anyway, she pulled out of this debate, and then they had another debate later on, and she witted on a bit about God knows what, and then changed her mind again at an interview the following day. So we've got a Prime Minister who's got no gumption. They're going to have to stand up against Europe, but not in a F off and die kind of way. In a, I disagree with you on that, but how's about we do this? I've heard the batteries are nice there. In America, yes, that was one of the early, what a week that was as we did, when I introduced the American stuff. Anyway, the voting's closed now, so we can't, well, we couldn't decide anyway, but no one else can vote, so all the votes are in, so no, someone somewhere knows that she's won, and I'm just naffed off with the whole thing. Now the other thing is, when a Prime Minister is elected, be it through general election or like this a leadership contest, they have to go to the Queen to tell the Queen that they've been elected, and then she tells them to go and form a government on her behalf. It's one of the few powers she's got. I don't think she can actually tell them not to form a government, but normally she does it at Buckingham Palace, but due to her obviously frailty, she's currently in Sandringham, which is up in Scotland, so whoever wins is going to have to go to Scotland with Boris. That would be an interesting drive if they're in the same vehicle. I can't imagine they would be, but if they were, drive up to Scotland, or a helicopter flight up to Scotland with Boris and the new Prime Minister, because Boris has to resign, and then the new Prime Minister has to be told to make the government, and then come back to London, and then, you know, start making a cabinet and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously they're moving into number 10, you need furniture, so they stop off at IKEA on the way back and make a cabinet when they get home, which is nice. So yeah, the other thing as well, which is a bit worrying, is the fact that I won't trust any of them to open a can of beans. No. Mikhail Gorbachev, he was a leader of the USSR, which was before it was Russia. Well, after it was Russia, it was the USSR, and then it was Russia again. And basically, he's the guy who helped break down the Berlin Wall, give freedoms and rights, and made lots of millionaires in Russia, because before that you weren't allowed to be a millionaire or whatever, so a lot of people made a lot of money very quickly after he had basically completely destroyed what there was and made this new superpower. Now, Yeltsin, that's going back a bit further, Putin has said that he can't go to the funeral, which is on Saturday, because he's got other commitments, but he does acknowledge that Gorbachev did some good things for Russia, but also says that he shouldn't have done anything about that, and he should have kept Russia as the USSR. So some you win, some you lose. Another sad story was Bill Turnbull. He was a newsreader and a journalist. I recognise him. He did a lot of breakfast TV, which is when he kind of disappeared from my charts, because I'm not up at that time in the morning to watch breakfast news. But yeah, he did the news and everything on the mornings. Well, sadly he's passed away. from cancer at the age of 66, which is no age these days. Apparently it's prostate cancer, and a lot of people now, because of that, are actually getting checked out for prostate. So yeah, and yeah, I haven't yet, because I don't want someone sticking their finger up. Anyway, Sizewell C, this is an artist impression of it, shame they can't build it that quick, has been given the go-ahead by Boris, who isn't the Prime Minister after Monday. But anyway, he said 700 million is going to it, and it should be up and running within 15 years. You can't build a nuclear power station quickly, obviously. Putin is coming in mind to play Scrabble and Twister on Saturday. That's why he ain't going. Well, that's a good enough reason. That's a good enough reason. I mean, if you've got pre-arranged a Scrabble and Twister, no doubt Scrabble and Twister will be undressed, because we know he's a bit like George Russell. He likes to take his top off rather a lot. Oh my God, I've got something in common with Putin and George Russell. Oh dear. Anyway, Sizewell B, £700 million has been given. I think it's EDF Energy are building it, French company. I don't think we're going to fall out with them in the meantime. That would be embarrassing. And it's enough to power quite a lot of houses once it's up in 15 years' time. But like I say, you don't want to rush it. He's a devil at swing ball too. Oh yeah, I bet he is. But he only does that in private. He doesn't do that in public. That's what you get when you get older. You see the. Anyway, moving on. There was news as well this week that a wind turbine, I can't remember if it was in Cumbria or on the Isle of Man, was certainly up this neck of the woods, got blown over because the wind was too strong. A wind turbine. The wind was too strong for a wind turbine. Anyway, talking of nuclear power stations, which we were, the one in Ukraine, which is currently controlled by Russia, has now got the United Nations there to inspect it, and they say that the integrity of it, of the outer buildings, are not intact. Why don't they develop underwater tidal turbines that could provide unlimited power? It's a very good question. My boat sank too much water. Yes, verzachtelijk. So United Nations inspectors are at the nuclear plant, and they have said that they're going to stay there now. There's going to be a UN presence there, which they didn't tell Russia they were going to do. They didn't tell Ukraine they were going to do, but they're going to stay there, I think, as a human shield to stop the nuclear plants getting bombed. Now, like I said a few weeks ago, it should be a war crime to militarise a nuclear power station, i.e. have troops within its grounds or within a mile of it. If you've got troops based within a mile of a nuclear power station, then you have committed a war crime. If you bomb or shell or attack a nuclear power station within a mile of a nuclear power station, you have committed a war crime. And that is the only way we can save nuclear power stations. But would them being there stop it? Well, I kind of hope it would do, but then you deal with Russia, don't you, who have like no conscience. Yeah, I don't understand why electric cars can't charge themselves with the motion of the car moving. I've never understood why that isn't a thing, because that makes more sense. It doesn't make sense for electric cars, period, for the amount of chemicals, precious metals, plastic for the battery boxes. What do you do with the batteries when they run out? I mean, remember, you can't eat batteries, you can't throw batteries into the black bin or your general waste bin or a litter bin outside. You're not allowed to do that. I know everyone does, but you're not allowed to do that. What you're going to do with these huge car batteries, it is not green. What you need to do is develop clean, green hydrogen. I love you as well, Sweet Almond, with a name like that. And you've got to get the car manufacturers and Rolls-Royce to develop hydrogen engines for their aeroplanes, because you ain't going to get batteries for aeroplanes. Let's be honest, aeroplanes are the biggest polluters on the planet. So get hydrogen or what was it called? That fuel where it uses the carbon dioxide out of the air, and when you burn it, all it gives out is the carbon dioxide you've already took out of the air, so therefore it's carbon negative. No, carbon neutral. So that's what you need to do. None of this bloody electric car malarkey and all these batteries and chemicals. Where do these precious metals come from? Oh yeah, they come out of the ground. They have to be dug up by these huge, massive machines, and then the ore has to be processed by these huge, massive furnaces about 2 or 3 times to purify it. That's not a green energy. Hydrogen, if you can get hydrogen green, which apparently you can do, but not on the scale we need, well, just upscale and get hydrogen out there. Hydrogen apparently can work in any car as long as the car is modified for it. Now, I'd sooner pay a few £100 to have my car modified for hydrogen than 15, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds for an electric car. Well, that's my opinion, and it doesn't count for anything because I have no say on anything. The Uyghurs in China are being abused. It's official. The UN have brought out a report where they've looked into the Uyghurs, who are basically Muslims that live in China, which have been rounded up off the streets, a bit like the Jews were in Germany before World War II, and they've been put into reassessment places, or places where they get educated. To me, that's one of them. Looks like a prison. Well, there's torturing going on, human rights abuses. It's a complete nightmare. It's been going on for ages. We've not done anything about it. We need to do something. If electric cars had solar roofs and self-charge device powered by kinetic motion, that is very clean. Yeah, but the solar roofs require precious metals which have to be got out of the ground and all that kind of stuff. And plus, let's be honest, in Britain, it's not sunny that often. I mean, we've been lucky. I mean, I've been out on the canal today, topping up my tan, and it was lovely. But yeah, it's not always like that. I mean, like the next 2 days, they're completely useless. So, I mean, there's a guy going around Australia from Britain, and he's taking a Tesla car and he's charging it up with a roll of solar panels, obviously very thin solar panels, that he rolls out, and it's about 6 times the length of his car. So he rolls it out, and then it charges up during the day, and then he rolls it back up again, puts it in the back of the car, and then drives for an hour before he can drive, stops, gets it out, plugs it in, and then unrolls it all again and charges the car up again. And he's going to do that all the way around Australia. It's going to take him months and months and months and months and months. He said he's not doing it because he thinks that solar power is going to be the way forward for charging cars. He's doing it to see if the technology works with the thin, reusable, rolly-uppy solar panel things. I mean, I'm talking about walking along the canal. I'd say around about 50%-ish, maybe a bit less, of the canal boats, the barges, have solar panels on them. But what good they actually do, I don't know. Most of those, yes, exactly. A lot of the, there was a few famous pictures that have gone up recently where a car has run out of battery charge, and AA or whatever have come out, and or mechanics come out and have plugged in a diesel generator or a petrol generator to charge it up. Yeah. Also the cost as well. They reckon now it's going to cost you, when the new new energy price cap comes in, to charge your electric car up is going to cost at least £35, and to fill my car with petrol, okay, prices are a bit steep at the minute, but it's £65. And it's a lot easier to go to a garage and fill it up again than what it is to recharge again. So yeah, I mean, electricity's coming a long way. I mean, if you remember if you ever watched Top Gear, and I know in America they watch Top Gear as well. Oh, you plug it in at home and a fossil fuel power station charges it. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad someone else gets it. I thought it was just me who got this. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's scary to think that people think that electric cars are the way forward. The only thing I would electrify at the moment would be trucks and buses, because I think they're very urgent. We need to get rid of diesel, so electrify them, and make sure that wherever they charge up is renewable energy, i.e. if they're at a service station or a truck stop or at their base, it's a wind turbine or something similar that's charging it up. Like you say, not plugging it into the mains and it's a coal power station 150 mile away that's charging it up, because that ain't going to work. So, anyway, we're on about human rights in China. What about Liz Truss chair? What? Was she making a cabinet? I don't think she needs a chair. I just went getting my £20 kettle. Oh yeah, Boris Johnson come up with this brilliant plan. If you're struggling with energy costs, go out and buy yourself a £20 kettle, and then over the next 12 months it'll save you £10. So in 3 years' time, you'll make £10 profit. Of course, by then, it'll cost you £10 for a loaf of bread. So I think it's false economy. Oh, Liz Truss chair, yes. She's belting and grouting. Hey, DC. You're quite chatty today, which is good. Last week you weren't so chatty. It'll be dead in 3 years. Yeah, the kettle would be if you use it every day. I use mine like twice a week. I don't drink tea or coffee, and I don't have hot water downstairs because, well, I don't need it. It just takes too long for the come down the pipe, so I just stick the kettle on. It's cheaper, less fossil fuels. I don't know. It's a new kettle though, so I'll be fine. Actually, that's the point. If I only use my kettle like once or twice a week, does that mean I'd only save myself like 50p a year? So how long would it take me to get my money back? Oh my god. Moving on. What is the most energy efficient gaming console that's relevant? Probably, I would say, the Switch, because you've got the screen built in, so you don't need a screen. You can run it off the batteries, which you could, in theory, charge with a wind turbine, a little mini wind turbine, something similar. So I think a Switch could be the one that works. I use it like 10 times a day. Well, you probably save 15 quid a year. So go and get that thing. Relevant. The word was, there was a relevance. Relevant. The Wii is not relevant. Anyway, that reminds me, I need a Wii. So yeah, China have been accused of human rights violations, torture and crimes against humanity. And we're still dealing with them. Why have we let China and Russia, both countries we know we can't trust, become so dominant in supplying us stuff that we can't do without, i.e. microchips, fuel, cars, loads of other stuff as well. If we put sanctions on China, which I think we need to do, and I've been saying this for months, then we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot even more than what we've done with Russia. But we can't let a country like China get away with what they're getting away with. It just begs belief that people are prepared to do that. Anyway, moving on. Very sad. Olivia, the 9-year-old who got killed in her own home last week in Liverpool in the United Kingdom. It's the first child shooting murder since, I think, 15 years to the day that Rhys Jones, the young Everton lad, got shot in Crossfire. He was walking across a playground, car park or something, and someone was shooting at someone at the other side of the car park and killed him. At this time Olivia was in her own home and a gunman burst in, chasing a guy who'd burst in first. Neither of them known to Olivia or the family, and she was tragically shot and killed pretty much instantly. They've released CCTV footage of the criminal, the scumbag, running away, which you can see there. It's a really weird the way they've done it though. They've kind of done this little circle thing and kind of phased out everything else. So as it runs along this circle, and it's not very clear at all. So hopefully someone's got some better footage and we can get this scumbag locked up forever. Absolute. No, we do cover difficult stuff as well, but I do it in a light-hearted way. Now, I was watching telly last night, as I do, and on the BBC, but not Sky News, Biden popped up, and it was live, and I thought, oh, what's he going to do? And he was doing a speech, and it was in Philadelphia. And apparently the building behind where he was stood was where the American Constitution was signed and written and all that kind of stuff, because he basically said that during the speech. And then basically he just slagged off Donald Trump. I mean, he went for him. And I'm like, this is good. He called them megas, as in Make America Great Again. He said that all the mega politicians are basically warmongers and all this kind of stuff, and it was brilliant. It was really, really good, and he only flustered his words a few times. You could tell he really felt it, and he was just saying basically that America have to decide what they're going to do, because if they go back to Trump, which I don't know whether they will do or not, because there's a possibility he could be in prison before the next election, especially with all these documents he's took from the White House and stored in a Miami mansion that he owns, which got raided by the FBI a couple of weeks ago. So he's basically called him out, called him what he is, and said, we want to make America better than it's ever been, and we're already making it better than it has been recently. I mean, his figures, unemployment, all that kind of stuff hasn't really done well. Inflation is rife in America, but for exactly the same reasons why inflation is rife in the UK. It's the war in Ukraine, Ukraine, and also food prices going up, poor harvests all over the world because of the adverse weather conditions. It's just stuff beyond his control. You can only control certain things, and if you're managing them, then hopefully everything else will come back down again. But at the moment, he's just gunning for Donald Trump. Funnily enough, Donald Trump wasn't impressed, but more of that later. Ooh, it's a tease. I don't know if you can wait long enough for a tease, but anyway, you're going to have to. Oh my God, have I put that on? Don't. And then today, Extinction Rebellion have got into the House of Commons and superglued themselves to the Speaker's chair. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with everything that Extinction Rebellion talk about, because I think in some cases they are right. There are things that need to be sorted. There are things that need to be done. But I don't think supergluing yourself to anything is a particular good way of getting your point across. It just makes you look really, really, really stupid and ignorant as well. Plus, let's be honest, superglue isn't environmentally friendly. I don't think they do biodegradable superglue, and if they did, it'd probably be crap anyway. It wouldn't be super at all. So I think Extinction Rebellion repeatedly shoot themselves in the foot. I think one of the best things they ever did was when one of them superglued himself to the roof of a London Underground train, which everyone agrees the London Underground is the greenest way of travelling around London. And he, because he superglued himself to the roof of one of them, stopped the London Underground from functioning, so people had to get out of the station while he was being sorted out to get to work. They had to get taxis and buses and things like that. There was bus replacements coming on. They are right, but they are wrong in so many different ways, and that is the problem. And the worst thing that could possibly happen is if these people ever get an inch of power. I mean, you notice there that the three people round the around the chair are female. I'm not being sexist or anything, but you know, enough said. But yeah, Extinction Rebellion, right message, completely the wrong way of getting it across, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. I've got a picture of just... So, oh, there it is. This is Jackson in Mississippi. Must have needed a lot of glue to stay stuck on the roof. Yeah. I can see it they would last 40 seconds. Well, yeah, they keep sitting in the middle of motorways, and then you have cars stuck because someone's superglued themselves. I mean, how you superglue yourself to a bloody motorway, I have no idea. Again, you must need a hell of a lot. You're alright, Angela. We're not done your favourite bit yet, so you're okay. Nice to see you, by the way. It's that they stop the motorway traffic, so all the cars and lorries and things who don't know what's going on in front have got their engines running and just polluting the atmosphere even more. I say they're just... It should become a banned thing. If you're a member of it, you just go to prison, because that's the best way of dealing with you. Anyway, Jackson in Mississippi in America, because of the floods, no one in the city can get water that is safe to drink out of the taps. So some taps are completely run dry, other taps it's coming out, looks like mud, or like a sample that you give to the doctor, apparently, I don't know. It's just vile. America, as we've already said, is one of the richest countries in the world, proudest countries in the world, and there are people who can't get clean water in America in 2022. They're queuing up for hours for bottled water. They've been told if you have a shower in the water, if you've got water and it doesn't look too bad, do it with your mouth closed. Don't let any of it go in your mouth. What kind of service is that? I know we berate the water companies in the UK, and rightly so, but it does beg a belief that in America in 2022 this kind of thing is going on. It's just shocking. What's worse is that water could have been sent over to Pakistan, because these people have got too much water as well, but they've got no chance of any clean water anywhere, which is where all the typhoid and everything, first picture we started with earlier on. So yeah, it's a sad place to be. Oh, by the way, if you're a bit squeamish, look away now. But this was me earlier. This was me yesterday. I didn't realise I downloaded it. But anyway, there you go. Oh, it's a big picture. It's me on the canal, filming my video for the canal walk things which I'm doing, which seem to be quite popular at the moment. So yeah, get watching them. There's no one talking on it, I don't do anything, it's just me. Anyway, everyone's favourite bit is now here. It was that one. I was sweating like a pea in a pod that was sweating. It's got tan as well, which is unusual for me. I normally burn and peel, and then I'm whiter than the white bits on the Stars and Stripes flag. Anyway, talking of which, hurrah! Hurrah, ladies and gentlemen. It's Meanwhile in America. I don't know how it's doing this thing, because this seems quite recent to me. Anyway, just doing it backwards, I'll have to sort it out. Carjackers interrupt a couple having nookie and leave them naked in the streets. Now, in the UK, what normally happens is people just watch through the window and pleasure themselves. It's called dogging. But yeah, in, where was this? Brazil? Yeah, Brazil. In an unidentified city in Brazil, to protect the innocent, obviously. Two people were having making out in the back of a car, and three robbers came along and stole the car and left them on the street with nothing on. I mean, you know, that's some people would pay for that kind of thing, wouldn't they? But anyway, there you go. It's a very strange thing indeed. Right, so where are we at? Right, no, I think it is in the right order. I think it's just that for some reason that one just feels... Oh, I know what it is. Right, okay. Yeah, it's because we've changed month, haven't we? So, yeah, that happened. That was a recent thing. Right, so we'll start here and then remind me to go back to the top. Russian rockets hit cities near Ukraine nuclear plant, raising fears of a catastrophe. Now, basically, the nuclear plant, like I said before, has been shelled directly, but what they should do is make it a war crime to shell, whether Ukraine or Russia, within a mile of any nuclear facility, regardless of what it is. I mean, as long as it's civilian. Obviously, if it's a nuclear powered warship, then that's different, but certainly civilian civilian things, buildings, power stations and whatnot should be left secure. And it doesn't take much, as we know, for them to go very wrong. Fukushima after the earthquake, and the tsunami in Japan, and then obviously Chernobyl, and then Long Island in America, and Sellafield in Cumbria. You know, it does happen, and obviously all the ones in Russia that we don't know about, because, well, let's be honest, Russia have never told us anything about what goes on in there, unless we pick it up on satellites ourselves. I went swimming, and I wasn't very happy, because they took this picture of me, and then they come up with this elusive sea cow said to have inspired mermaid legends declared extinct in China. So basically, obviously it wasn't me, but basically the sea cow, which is what's it called, they have loads of them in America, has now become extinct in China, but that's what they reckoned inspired mermaids. Now, mermaids, as far as I'm aware, are, you know, pretty lady upper bodies and then fishtail at the back, and okay, that's got the fishtail at the back, but it ain't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. Mantini, there we go. Thank you, sweet almond. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, they are now extinct in China. Yeah, they probably have eaten them all, to be fair, because it's China. Who knows, maybe they've killed them off because that's where COVID come from. Salt Lake City cop released body cam footage showing officers who restrained a man who later died. Basically, the American police need to be retrained on how to restrain people, because, well, they're obviously doing it very, very wrong. I think they think they're in the WWE or something like that, and doing a chokehold and everything. I've seen worse on King Street at 4 AM. Yes, more than likely. A man stole a Long Island Fire Department vehicle after an accident and was quickly arrested. It was a victim of the accident, stole the fire department vehicle before authorities quickly tracked him down and arrested him. I mean, basically, being tracked down in a fire engine isn't difficult because they all have trackers in them. So if you're going to nick something, there may be a police car that's a bit faster than a fire engine. It's 16 weeks to be a cop in America, terrifying. Well, there you go then. And how much of that is spent on making good decisions when you've got your gun out? About 2 hours on a Wednesday. Arcade Fire singer Win Butler accused of sexual misconduct. One of the accusers, gender fluid individual, who uses they, them pronouns, claimed Butler, now 42, sexually assaulted them twice in 2015 when they were 21 years old. It's becoming more and more common now for famous people to be accused of activities. Can you drive? Yes. Can you shoot? Yes. Welcome aboard. It is exactly to become a policeman in America. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not defending Win Butler in any way, but it does seem that if you're a celebrity these days, you're an easy target, and in America in particular, you get compensation if you can get the person who you're making accusations about found guilty for the accusations. And yeah, there's a lot of these that have come along in the UK as well that nothing's come of them because, well, it's not true. Plus, a lot of the stuff that happened in the 70s and 80s, I mean, it was a well-known thing in the 70s and 80s and 90s. If you were a pop star, a rock star, you had groupies throwing themselves at you. Groupies being, depends what sex you were, but men or women throwing themselves at you after a show, or if they saw you in the streets or whatever. So yeah, it's a very, very dark, seedy area, and if people are doing it for the right reasons, great, but if they're doing it for the wrong reasons, then they're actually more guilty than someone who hasn't done anything. They've said it. I'm sorry, it's male and female, simple as that. Well, yes. A Florida woman tries to beat the DUI by Irish folk dancing and fails. Amy was 38, rear-ended another vehicle about a mile away from her own, and she tried to walk a straight line. Her eyes were bloodshot and watery. Then she thought she'd do some Irish folk dancing and basically fell over. And needless to say, she got nicked. But yeah, I know what I'll do to impress them. I will prove that I'm okay. Yeah, it doesn't work. Vale protest outside home of Texas governor. Basically, the Texas governor has not done enough or anything about the massacre at the school a few months ago now, and the parents of those children who died and were injured are protesting outside his house at night time so that he can't sleep, because they can't sleep because of the lack of action he's doing in the first place. And I say fair play to him. The toxic algae it's everywhere. Now, this is in America. Over 2,300 lakes and rivers across the USA are to host blue-green algae blooms, according to data. And it's everywhere over here as well. I mean, I've been walking along the canal quite a lot recently, and it's in the canal. You can see it exactly like that. It's on some of the films I'm shooting, and it's in Windermere, which is not a lake. It's a mere. That's why it's called Windermere and not Winder Lake. And people call it Lake Windermere. No, it's not. It's a mere. It's not a lake. There's a difference. I don't know what the difference is, but I'm very certain it's a mere, not a lake. Anyway, it's something we can't do anything about. But if you've got a dog or children or whatever, don't actually let them go in the water, and that way you'll be fine. I mean, I don't think I've got any poisoning from it because I've not been in the canal. This is a worrying one, which America have picked up on, but Britain hasn't. Prince Charles makes highly unusual daily visits to the Queen. He's going to visit her in Balmoral every day, which is very unusual apparently. The 96-year-old monarch who spends the summer at Balmoral, and yeah, I don't know whether he's staying nearby or what, or whether he's actually flying up there using a helicopter, because I can't imagine him driving there every day. But yeah, it's a bit concerning. I mean, we know she's 96, so she's not going to be in the best of health. But yeah, not good. Probably showing his suit for a funeral. That's cruel. Colorado students told in a video to avoid the police if they see a racist attack. A high school in Denver has come under fire for showing a video to students telling them not to necessarily call the police if they say a violently racist or homophobic incident, for the fear of escalation. Titled "Don't Be a Bystander." It's only in America. Yeah, I'll just keep walking. Don't go. What you mustn't do is go sliding. This slide in Detroit made the news a couple of weeks ago because people were literally flying about 4 foot in the air, and it basically looks like corrugated iron it's made out of. They over-polished it. So what they did, they closed it because people were getting hurt, and now they've reopened it again, and it's still it's still very fast and very painful. So a bit like if you ever went to Blackpool and you went on Mousetrap, you come off with bruises on your arms because you get flung side to side. Well, this one, it's your ass and your back of your neck, and probably concussion as well. So yeah, if you're going on that slide in Detroit, be careful. Wear rubber suits and you just squeak all the way down. I don't know why I said that. It sounded funny in my head. Didn't work. But anyway, video captures Good Samaritan yanking a gun from broad daylight motorcycle robbers in New York City. Now, he's not being a bystander. He's not calling the police. He's just taken the gun off a motorcycle criminal. I think I'd sooner be a bystander on that one. I'm sorry, I would not grab a gun off someone off a motorcycle because it's a gun. I was bitten on the butt and nearly drowned by an angry sea turtle. Now bear in mind, sea turtles don't necessarily have emotions other than calm and fear of death. I don't think they necessarily get angry or frustrated, or I don't think they get sad. I think they just, go day to day through life, and then some stupid human thing gets in the way, and yeah, she claims she was attacked aggressively by a turtle. Might have been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Maybe it's reformed as a turtle and it's frustrated, so maybe because it can't eat pizza anymore. Sorted. Figured it out. Video captures a UK bus stop roof collapse as carnival goers twerk on it. Now, if you haven't seen this video, it is hilarious. Basically, it's a bus shelter which is like that. So there's a bit where the road is, and then there's a roof on it, but nothing else. And about 6 or 7 adults climb on top of it, and then they start dancing. And very quickly, instead of being like that, it goes like that, because it's not designed. It's not got anything on that side, so it just collapses and they all slide off. I don't think anyone was seriously injured. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been seriously injured, but it is funny. Did you see that guy trying to kill the Argentinian Prime Minister but his gun misfired, doesn't shoot? Yes, I did. Well, yeah, I felt more sorry for the people underneath the bus shelter who basically were stood under here, very happy, and all of a sudden they were all squashed like sardines with the lid of it. Yeah, that was today. It was the Vice President. The picture of it was a bit blurry. He's got the gun pointing at her head, and yeah, it doesn't go off, so she's safe. We've got windy pops. The owner of the car that Princess Diana died in, as well as Dodi Fayed and the driver, wants it back because it's legally theirs. What? Why would you want a car where one of the most photographed popular women on the planet died in, which has got no roof on it now, the front of it is completely barged in, and the chassis is completely twisted? Why would you want it back? Probably because you're a sick sod who thinks you might be able to sell tickets for people to come and look at it. That's the only reason I can think of, in which case I'd just crush it. Yeah, exactly, to make loads of money. Oh, Henry Paul, he was the driver. Exactly, that's beyond sick. 25 years ago as well, when that happened. It was shocking at the time. Loads of conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff. There's a few things that have been on telly, a bit like when 9/11 comes round. You got all these programs coming about conspiracy theories and all that. Oh, there are explosions. You can see the glass exploding at the bottom. No, the Twin Towers is a tube. When the top's coming down, the air goes down the middle where the stairs and the lifts are. It's that high pressure. It comes out through the doors. It's got nowhere to go. It goes through the windows. It's not an explosion. It's just air that's being compressed and coming out. Same with this. I don't think it was... I mean, how could you deliberately do that? You couldn't deliberately do that. It's just a tragic accident. And every year they dig it up. More so this year because it's 25 years. I mean, poor Prince William and Prince Harry. For God's sake, it's their mother. Let her rest in peace. Let the lads have some peace as well. I mean, I know they're grown men now, but it must still hurt like crazy. They were only teenagers when she died. Absolute ridiculous, the amount of stuff going on about it at the minute. I mean, by all means, mark it, you know, do shows and all that, but no conspiracy theories, please. Please, no. Hillary Clinton. Who'd have thought she was still a thing? She posted a picture of herself dancing on a dance floor in support of the Finnish PM Sanna Marin. Now, if you remember, we talked about this for the last couple of weeks. The Finnish Prime Minister was forced to take a drug test because she was enjoying herself at a party. I mean, my God. Can you imagine if Boris was Finnish? Jesus, the amount of drug tests he would have had to do. Mind you, it's probably about half the paternity tests he's had to do. Anyway, Hillary Clinton has come out in support, even though she's not a Prime Minister, never been a Prime Minister, not a President, never been a President. But she came out in support and showed herself dancing on the dance floor. And that's nice. Really? I'm not sure about that. I'm more into, like, Fiona Bruce and, weirdly, Laura Kuenssberg as well. Quite like her. I just like the BBC women. That's what. Alright, a New York store begins enforcing a ban on sale of whipped cream to canisters to those under 21. Now, why? Is it because they don't want anyone under 21 to have kinky sex? No, I don't think so. No, the reason is there is nitrous oxide in there, and that's what pumps out the cream, and teenagers are increasingly getting high by getting the nitrous oxide out of the... But they get a lot of cream as well. I don't understand how it would work. You would basically get a gob full of cream. You wouldn't get high from it. I know loads of people who squirt cream in their mouth, and I don't see them, you know, going, hey man, that's great, kind of thing. Absolute bonkers. More of that later. Oh, another. Oh my God, there's so many of these tonight. NASA chiefs warns on Artemis test flight. Everything is not going to go as you expect. Well, obviously not. It's a test flight. That's why there's no humans in it. We've seen already that things can go very wrong very quickly when you're launching massive things into space. Doesn't matter who you are, China, India, America, Russia, things blow up. It's basically a massive bomb with a hole in the bottom, and you want the explosion to come out of that hole in the bottom and not anywhere else. And it's not always easy to do that. So that's why they're doing a test flight. So we don't need a NASA chief telling us that it may not be successful, because we know it may not be successful because it's a test flight to test if it's going to be successful and also find any faults before we put people in it. I get it. I understand. I think I also watched as well, be a few years ago now, I was clicking through on YouTube or whatever, and it came up with live NASA rocket test, and it was in some kind of quarry somewhere, and there was this massive rocket on its side, and they fired it, and it just blew out this massive flame and all that, and I think they said it was the rocket for this. So they've been working on it for a long while, but I mean, how many million different components are in each one of these rockets, and only needs one of them to go wrong, and kaboom, you've got yourself well, a mess, for want of a better word. Meanwhile, this would be me, I'll be honest with you, as long as you didn't breathe on my kebab, and as long as it wasn't a kebab. But the point's the same. A man gleefully chomps kebab in front of an animal rights protester in New York City. There's a guy who I don't like, who films in Manchester, and he does these videos where he walks around Piccadilly Gardens and he knows all the down and outs and everything. But what I don't like about him is the fact he films a lot of teenage kids that are hanging around as well. And I think, no, I mean, if you watch my videos, when I'm in a city centre or a town or whatever, I don't film the people. It's almost like I'm on my own, and if I do, it's only a quick glance. I don't walk up to people and film them and then just turn around and walk away again. I think that's just weird. But he does the same kind of thing when you have the anonymous protesters, where they kind of stand in a little triangle with TV screens on their tummies, and it's showing like animals being slaughtered and all this kind of stuff. And he says, you know, why are you showing this when there's toddlers walking past, and all this kind of stuff. And he stands in the face and argues with them about it. That's the only thing I think he's right with. But other than that, I think he's anyway. But this guy just stood there quietly and just ate his kebab while some woman irately shouted at him. And I'd be like, do you mind not spitting on my kebab, please? Thank you. Now this is good news. Ukraine says it's begun a counter-offence to retake Russian-held south. As we know, there's been explosions going on in various different places in Ukraine that's been already captured. Army dumps, weapon ammunition dumps, and all that kind of thing have been blowing up left, right and centre. And now Ukraine have said we're actually going forwards and we are attacking the Russians and we're trying to take back the land that they've took from us. And I wish them all the luck in the world. The thing I don't agree with, amongst many things with Russia, is the fact that now Putin is sending in kids who've had less training to go into a war situation than what the police get in America. 3 days sometimes, and then they're sent out to the front line. It's just shocking. I mean, that's war crimes against your own population. But you know, the hero of the year, Zelensky, it's just like, you know, he can't do wrong, and then it'll probably turn out at some point, you know, in the future, that, you know, he did something very wrong in the past, and, you know, everyone will hate him. But at the moment, he's a world hero. Monkey hunters accidentally shoot a tranquilizer into the woman who reported the ape that they come to tranquilise. So a woman saw an ape doing something it shouldn't be doing in near the Fukuoka station in Fuji City. So she rang up the authorities, they came out and they shot her, not the monkey, with the tranquilizer. You'd almost think they'd been trained in America, wouldn't you? Just saying. Gulf War #1. Pastor at popular Texas church leaves over inappropriate messages with women. Right. I think all pastors in America should be put in a big prison and just left there to preach to each other. Because, let's be honest, they're all con men. Every single one of them. They're all scumbags. They shouldn't have the ability to communicate and deal with people the way that they do. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Catholic Church, but at least they don't drive around in Ferraris wearing bling and complaining when people don't give them enough money on their telecasts and internet casts so they can buy a new watch. So, no, every single one of them should be just locked away. Now, if you're of a certain age, you know who the monkeys are. Not the one with the tranquilizer that missed it and hit the woman, but the pop band from the 1960s and 70s. Basically, America's answer to the Beatles, even though one of them was British. Well, there's only one left now, sadly. Mickey DeLance. And he's now suing the FBI because the FBI have got files on his 1960s band. He sued the Justice Department to try and get the secret files the FBI compiled on the pop rock band while they were protested the Vietnam War in their 1960s counterculture heyday. He's the sole surviving member of the band Made for TV. They had a TV show, Hey, we're the monkeys, we all monkey around, and had these silly suits with the buttons that went down like that and everything. He filed the war suit to try and get these records to find out what the FBI was saying about him. I think fair play. FBI, well, they need as much manhandling and kicking around as most people in America at the moment in charge. Frantic crowd flees bull which charged into the stands at a Florida state grounds. So a bull broke loose, a bull that was deliberately made angry so that it could go bullfighting probably, or riding it, and it broke out of its stands and everyone ran away terrified because they're not bull riders. No bull intended, probably. Man caught drink driving while dropping, caught drink driving while dropping kids at school. A mother will appear in court after she was allegedly detected driving more than twice the legal limit while dropping her kids off at school in New South Wales, Australia. 8:52 AM, twice the legal drink drive limit and kids in the car. Ukraine are building decoy HIMARS rocket systems to draw Russian fire. They're basically doing what was done in World War II, where they had inflatable tanks that they put in fields in plain sight so that the Germans and the British, the Allies, would bomb them whilst the real tanks were hidden in the trees and things around and about. Anyway, Ukraine have picked up on this and they're doing the same thing. They're basically mocking up the weapons that are being sent over by America and England and everywhere else, so that the Russians waste ammunition on them and not on the actual real equipment, which is working really well for them at the moment. I mean, you know, it's very sad when people die, but then you look at it and then you think, you deserved it. In the Ghana Zoo, a lion killed a man who attempted to steal a rare white cub. So a guy was mauled to death after he climbed a fence to steal a rare white cub. It was a 20-foot tall mesh fence, and the lion and the lioness and two cubs were there, and obviously mum is going to defend her cubs, and the guy was killed. And I'm like, it's sad that someone's died, but no sympathy. I mean, I wouldn't go near if I was going through a field with cows in it and the cows had calves, I'd go in a different field, because mums look after the kids more so in the animal world than in the human world. But anyway, should have just sold all his organs. It stands for Seifel. Yeah. Armed conservative activists and Proud Boys faced off against gun-toting anti-NAF counter-protesters at a children's drag brunch in Texas over the weekend. Now, I have multiple problems with this. One is, why is there a children's drag brunch going on? That just seems weird. But then, why do people think, rather than going, that's a bit weird, I'm not sending my kids there, why do people think it's good to turn up armed to the teeth over it, when innocent enough, and there's kids there? It makes, yeah, exactly. I think it would make more of the kids want to be the drag queens than actually be the gun-toting loonies, because the drag queens would be there being, you know, all nice and helpful and lovely, and the other guys just screaming and shouting and effing and jeffing and toting guns, which would terrify children. My mum would hope so anyway. A dementia-stricken woman died after a senior home serve serves her dishwash liquid. I read that and I'm like, nah, that can't be right. They should let children be children. I agree, 100%. If boys want to dress up as Princess whatever, and it's a Princess Leia then, but they won't know who that is. But, you know, Snow White or something like that, that's fair enough. And if a girl wants to dress up like Mario or him out of Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear, that's fine as well. You find yourself as you get older. You experiment when you're younger. Christ, it's not the end of the world, is it? Anyway, this dementia-stricken woman died after the California senior citizens home she lived in errantly served her dishwashing liquid instead of juice. What? It's that. I mean, that she's living in a care home. She's got dementia. She needs help, obviously. And they serve her dishwashing liquid instead of juice. I mean, the family should. I'm not into people suing things for things. I think we've gone too far. But I think there are exceptions, and that is definitely an exception. And there should be. I think the place should be shut down, and everyone who works there should be put away, because that should not be happening. A 12-year-old boy is accused of shooting a student in a California middle school. I don't understand the American system. I assume that middle school is equivalent of our secondary school, and then high school is when they're like a college kind of thing. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I only watched. I don't watch anything, to be fair, to do with schools in America, because I don't watch 80s films. I watched Back to the Future, but I was on there. Anyway, a 12-year-old boy accused of shooting a student at California middle school. He's been held in police custody as he shot a 13-year-old student at a California middle school on Monday. Madison Park Academy. So not only have we got children being shot, we've got children shooting children in America. And a lot of people say that the gun laws in America and access to guns is fine. Michael Jackson. This is not the most flattering picture of him, but I'll be honest, the story isn't flattering either, so that's probably why they chose this picture. Michael Jackson used 19 fake IDs to score drugs. New documents reveals on his birthday. He died in 2009, which is, what, 13 years ago? I mean, that's ridiculous. Just length of time. But he had 19 fake IDs. Now, there's a few things you can say. One is, at the time, when he was alive, he was one of the most famous men in the world, so everyone would know who he was. So having a fake ID would not work, because it'd be like, well, you're Michael Jackson. And then the other side of him is saying, well, let's be honest, if you look at him from when he was in the Jackson 5 to when he passed away, there's probably 19 different looks he had. I mean, physical looks, because of all the work he had done. So maybe they weren't fake, maybe they were just his old ones that he kept. Because, you know, your driving licence or whatever, it kept changing. You know, he had a nose job, so he'd have to have a new photograph, a new licence. So I don't think they necessarily were fake. But either way, what is the point of publishing this story? I mean, he's been dead 13 years. You know, again, let the guy rest in peace. And all that BS that come up about child abuse and all that crap as well. The guy never had a childhood. I've said this many times before. The guy never had a childhood. He was beat by his father. The only people he felt comfortable with were kids, and yes, he probably slept with them, but I don't think anything inappropriate ever happened. And the only people who've said that there has been are the ones who've gone quiet when he paid them a few $1 million. If you'd been abused, you'd want that person to go to prison. You would not accept a few $1 million for it. So, and Macaulay Culkin and all them said nothing happened. It was just a bit of fun then, you know, fair play. But again, the guy's dead. Nothing we can do about it now. Brazen New York City Fair beater trains his dog to open the subway emergency gates. I saw the video of this and I was like, what the hell? So yeah, there's an emergency gate that lets people out if there's an emergency, and this guy has trained his dog to jump up and tap the button so that the gate will open so he can get out without paying on the New York subway. I mean, most people just jump over the barriers, let's be honest, or tailgate someone else. But no, this guy trained his dog to press a button. Well done. Now, as I said before, it's Diana's 25th anniversary of her passing, and obviously there's going to be tributes, paintings, the most beautiful woman on the planet at the time, most photographed woman in the world, most famous woman in the world. So there's many beautiful things that have been done to mark her life, her death, tributes and all that kind of thing. And then there's this. It's a candle portrait. Someone has got them little tea lights and made Diana's face out of tea lights and lit them as a tribute to her. Why? Why? I don't get it. It makes no sense to do a tribute in tea lights. It makes me angry, actually, because she was more beautiful than a few tea lights. Marijuana outpaces cigarette use for the first time in the USA. And then it says, that's dope. A new Gallup poll revealed that more Americans are now using marijuana than smoking cigarettes, according to the results published last Friday. 60% of Americans say they currently smoke marijuana, while only 11 reported being cigarette smokers. 11%, that is, not 11 people. In the 1950s, it was 45%, but in the 1950s, the doctors were saying that you should be smoking cigarettes because they clear your throat out because of all the coughing you do, and it keeps you, all that kind of stuff. Loads of advertisements. I'm Dr. So-and-so, and I smoke these cigarettes because these cigarettes are amazing. And I think we've got the same issue at the minute with vaping. I think vaping is going to give long-term lung issues to so many people, particularly kids who are buying them and using them. I mean, schools aren't in at the minute, but if you ever see a group of teenagers, guarantee at least 2 of them will be vaping. That cannot be good for them because they won't be buying the good stuff. They'll be buying the 5 for a quid off the market, which is probably made in some back street somewhere with various chemicals, which is then vaporised and inhaled into the lungs. What could possibly go wrong long term? Some vaping products, to be fair, have been banned in America for that exact reason. But it's not been reported very much over here in the United Kingdom. Monkeypox. Texas patient with monkeypox dies. Could be the first virus-related death in the US. You think, oh my God, that's terrible. In Chicago, I mean, it's terrible someone's died. But it seems that the guy had other health issues, and it was those that killed him, and he had monkeypox at the time. So maybe not then. Donald Trump bragged he had intel on Emmanuel Macron, the France's Chicago. That's where I'm moving to. Oh my word! They got a nice river there that turns green once a year, apparently. Macron's sex life. Donald Trump has repeatedly bragged about knowing illicit details of the French president's sex life, according to a new report. Why you would want to know about Macron's sex life? I mean, in France, you're not a male unless you're having affairs. So I don't think Macron would really give her monkey's left angly bit. What Donald Trump knew, I didn't know. But if Donald Trump gets turned on by it, then fair play. Taiwan forces fire at drones flying over island near China. Taiwan's military fired warning shots at drones from China flying over its outposts just off the Chinese coastline. So, yeah, things are escalating quietly in Taiwan and China. Remember we had the Uyghurs earlier on and the human rights abuses. And, yep, China is definitely angling for war and thinks that the world's not going to do anything about it because we can't afford to. Right, remember the whipped cream story from earlier on? where people had to have ID to show they're over 21 to buy whipped cream, which come out of a squirty can, because of the nitrates in there and people were sniffing the nitrates. Well, guess what? Guess what? You don't need an ID to buy whipped cream in New York, a letter clarifies. You do not need ID to buy whipped cream in New York shops. A sponsor of the bill that the governor, Kathy Hochul, signed into law late last year, sought to clarify on Wednesday amid recent confusion by convenience and grocery store owners who believed they were required to ID people buying whipped cream as much as they would alcohol and tobacco. I used to love whipped cream, but now I'm having second thoughts, says a senator there. But, yeah, so it's panic over. I mean, I'm lactose intolerant, so it's no good for me. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, if you want your whipped cream, you can have it. This is a weird one. Now, remember that thing about the dress, the photograph of the dress? Was it blue or was it gold? I thought it was blue, but the people thought it was gold. And then I saw a picture of it as gold, and I thought, well, that's gold. But the picture I saw was blue. Anyway, this is like that. Because this says, Selena Gomez dresses weirdly to match top secret Trump documents photo. And I'm like, that doesn't look like documents. I mean, if she was doing it proper, she would have documents stuck to her. You know, like Lady Gaga with all them chops that she had on her when she went to that thing, all that meat that she had stuck to her. That's what you do. If you were taking the mickey out of Donald Trump, you'd have top secret written all over him and everything. You wouldn't wear a dress doesn't look anything like documents and then claim, or the press claims, that they look like documents. Because, well, let's be honest, let's have a close look at the documents. It doesn't look like documents. I mean, it looks like the carpet, but it doesn't look like documents. Some of the top secret documents seized from Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate had such a specific security classification that the FBI agents that seized it had to get special clearance to view them so that they could seize them. What? It's only in America. Only in America. Thank God. And you're moving to America? Really? Half of Americans say Trump should be prosecuted over the Mar-a-Lago raids. So they've done a poll and they reckon 59% say that he should be prosecuted over stealing basically state secrets from the White House when he left the White House. And then 29% said he should be let off. A man, age 51, don't know why that's important, caught throwing eggs. Yep, getting married in Central Park next. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds good. You can go see if they've washed the eggs off Trump Tower while you're there. Man 51 caught throwing eggs at Trump Tower and he was slapped with a summons. He should have been slapped with a frying pan so he could make scrambled eggs for all the police. A man was caught in the act as he flung eggs at the entrance to Trump Tower early on Thursday. The 51-year-old man approached the glass door of the luxury Midtown building on 5th Avenue and walloped it with eggs, according to the sources. I can think of worse things to throw at Donald Trump's buildings. I can think of better things to throw at Donald Trump. But anyway. Putin. Here we go. Putin. Russian oil executive and Putin critic Revel Maganov is dead after he fell mysteriously from a 6-story building. He was a consistent critic of Vladimir Putin. He was chief executive of the Russian private oil giant Lukoil and an opponent to the Ukraine war. He died in a 6-story plunge from a Moscow hospital window. The Russian press and state media are reporting it as suicide. He was in hospital because he'd had a heart attack and he was taking antidepressants. But, it's, kind of thing, isn't it? Definitely. Putin snubs Gorbachev's funeral, pays tribute to his huge impact. So this is what I said before. He's not going to the funeral because he's got prior engagements. But he does say that he had a huge impact on the country, which is fair enough. Russian millionaires have a habit of being millionaires because of Gorbachev, and I think they'll be more upset over his death than Putin is. But yeah, you should know that if you step out of line in Russia and you're high profile, you're going to disappear one way or another. Allegedly. I mean, if I mysteriously disappear, well, it could either be China or Russia, who knows. This is a bit sick as well. The second apparent newborn baby's leg found at New York City sewage facility, or faculty if you're American. A second leg, apparently belonging to an infant or a newborn, was discovered at Bronx sewage treatment plant. It was the day after the first grim discovery. I thought I'd reported on the first one actually, but anyway, yeah, whatever has happened here is a tragedy. And how, why and what, and hopefully whoever the mother is can get some help, because they must be going through hell at the moment. I mean, you don't know, you can easily criticise and say, well, it's a murder or whatever, but I mean, you hear of babies being born in toilets or being left here, there and everywhere because the parents can't cope, and they've not done it maliciously, they've done it because they can't cope and they've got mental health issues. And I kind of hope that that is the problem here, and that they can find this poor woman and help her. Right, we were talking about electric cars before, weren't we? And we were saying, why can't electric cars charge themselves whilst they're driving, i.e. dynamos on the wheels or whatever? And I say electric cars are a waste of time anyway, because the amount of chemicals, precious metals and all that kind of stuff. If you want to know all my opinions, then just scroll back quite a while, and you'll find me talking about electric cars and everything. Anyway, Californians have been asked not to charge their electric cars, and they're asking people to conserve energy amidst a brutal heat wave. So if you've got an electric car, you've now been told that you can't basically use it because we need the electricity for people's air conditioning and stuff like that. Now they want to ban gas-powered cars. I think hydrogen gas is the way forward. Again, scroll back to earlier on, flashback to earlier on, you'll find out what I'm talking about. But it just seems a bizarre thing to say, that you can't charge your electric car. What is the point? So yeah, if you've got a cheap electric car, go to California, you probably pick one up for $50. Meanwhile, picking up, someone has to pick up a lot of stuff here. A tractor trailer crashes and covers Tennessee highway in Alfredo sauce. Alfredo. An 18-wheeler loaded with Alfredo sauce crashed on a Tennessee highway on Tuesday, blanketing the roadway with a creamy concoction. I assume it's like mayonnaise or something like that, I don't know. It's going to be some oily sauce, isn't it? The results shut down parts of the highway for hours, according to the Memphis police station. It would do. And it doesn't look dissimilar. If you're a regular viewer, subscriber, you know I do drives when I go to my mum's on a Tuesday and then drive back again. Just comment on what's been going on, blah blah blah, all that kind of thing. And I a few weeks ago now, a couple of months ago even, I was driving and there was this bus had gone under a bridge and it was acting really weirdly, and I kind of hung back, and then the bus just kind of started sliding backwards, and I'm like, what's going on there? And then the bus went round this mess on the floor, and it was basically offal from a slaughterhouse a bit further down the road that had spilled out the back of a lorry. But I didn't know that until I'd driven through it. My car was slipping and sliding, and when I got home there was just pink stuff all over the side of it, and then the next day I've read in the news that it was this offal that I'd driven through. Well, yeah, it was very slimy, so I could imagine that, like ranch dressing, well, that really helps me, doesn't it? Ranch dressing. I don't know what's ranch dressing. I'm going to say mayonnaise in a squeezy bottle. That'll do. I don't know what ranch dressing is. Anyway, yeah, it would be a slimy mess, and that would take a hell of a while to clean up as well. A New Jersey town removes trees in a public square. Water down mayo. Yeah, there you go then, squirty mayo. That'll do. Thank you, Phoenix. The New Jersey town removes trees in public square to combat homelessness. A New Jersey town made the controversial decision to cut down trees from a public square to deter the homeless from congregating in the area. So rather than help the homeless, and rather than tackle the problem of people being homeless, they just make life more uncomfortable for them by chopping down trees. Gotta love Americans, said no one ever. Here we go. Donald Trump blasts insane Biden after primetime address. I said earlier on that I watched it live all the way through. It was like nearly half an hour of Biden just ripping into Trump. Well, there was at least 20 minutes of Biden ripping into Trump anyway. It was amazing. It was brilliant. You're like, why can't all politicians come out with crap like this? Former President Trump insisted that President Biden must be insane or suffering from late-stage dementia for his attack on him and his MAGA supporters for being a threat to the country. Someone should explain to Joe Biden, slowly but passionately, that MAGNA means as powerful as mere words can get, make America great again. Trump wrote soon after Biden's Thursday night attack, if he doesn't want to make America great again, well, you get me, or something similar. Yeah, Trump, you're a disgrace, mate, because Trump would give a full pardons with an apology to Capitol rioters if he was elected again. So the people he incited to riot and take on Capitol, break into the Capitol, people lost their lives, he would give them all a pardon and an apology if he become president again. And he's not the insane one? Ask him for a friend. Nothing frightens me. Well, everything frightens me about Trump, but nothing surprises me about Trump anymore. He's just such an absolute a-hole. But good news is we've got a happy story to end with. Hour and a half in, and we've come to the end. A stowaway squirrel, nicknamed Zippy, makes a stunning voyage on a ship from India to Scotland. Now, must clarify, it didn't sail the ship. It wasn't on its own on the ship. It was a stowaway on the ship, i.e. no one knew it was on the ship apart from it, because it was aware of being where it was. It wouldn't necessarily know it was on a ship, but it knew that it was not where it normally is. So it sailed on a ship from India to Scotland, and it does look really cute and tiny. It travelled thousands of miles aboard a ship that departed from India. It's called Zippy due to his remarkable speed. Now, when I was a small child, I convinced my mother to get a mouse for me, a white mouse. It's what people had in them days. And she got me a mouse. She bought it a wooden box with a glass bit that comes up and down at the front. So it was a box. It wasn't a big box, but again, it was the 70s, so you know it was all right for the time. But you know, you'd be like, "Whoa, now." Anyway, it gnawed its way out the back of the box, didn't it? And I nicknamed it Lightning because when we were bringing it home, and I was holding the little box, little cardboard box it was in. When we were bringing it home, it was Thunder and Lightning. So I thought I'll call it Lightning. Well, I named it well, because when it escaped, it took us 3 days to catch it. I mean, I was a kid, I could move. My mum, not so much maybe, but by God, that thing could shift. And eventually we just give up, and we put its box on the floor, and put a lot of food in there, and bedding and all that, and then we got up the next day, and it was asleep inside the box. And then we got a new box that it couldn't chew through, and it lived happily ever after, until it died. Which is what they would have done because it was the 1970s and mice don't live that long. Anyway, it was named Zippy due to its remarkable speed. It's now in the care of an animal rescuers in Scotland who are trying to find a new home for the lost rodents. But I think, that's really nice. That's really nice. That's a nice story to end on. So, what picture shall I use to do my roundup of the week's news? I'll let you lot decide, because I'll be honest with you, can't really think of anything. So you decide what picture I'll put up. In the meantime, I will say a huge shout out and thanks to Stay Green, Stay in the Woods, or JT and Rach, Smiley Mac 2001, Phoenix Hero, Sweet Almond, who's new, DC number 9, Admiral Cats, Angela O'Kane. When we get to the bottom, there'll probably be a list of photographs you want. The car one. The car one? What was the car one? What was the car one? I don't know. I don't know what the car one was. Car one. The nuclear generator. Car one. I was looking for the car one because that could come up first. Car one, car one, car one. Oh, it's not in that section. It's in the other section. So we'll go nuclear generator. There you go. Because, let's be honest, it's the future of Britain, nuclear power stations. The thing about nuclear power stations is, at the end of the day, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're a lot safer now when they're built than what they were when all the other ones were built. Oh, that one. They stole the car and threw them out. There you go. There you go. They were having rumpy-pumpy in the back of the car. 3 carjackers come along, chucked them out of the car, got in the car and drove off and left them on the street, stark naked. It was a quiet suburban street, thankfully, and it was in an unidentified city in Brazil. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. Am I coming on again? Well, I'll be doing this again next week. I don't think I'll be on again tonight, because for me it's good telly night. Basically Channel 4 from 8 o'clock until gone 11. Friday night TV night. But if the weather's bad tomorrow, I may well go to do some live streaming. I've still got these Nintendo 64 games to play. I need to get through, various different ones. And I've got some other stuff I need to sort out as well. Plus I've started playing Battlefield 2042. There's a video of that, if you have a look, just on the videos. I don't know whether it comes up with all the videos in order, or whether it says live or videos or whatever. If it's live, then you have to click on the live one to look at it. And I also had the first game on the Xbox Series X of Fall Guys, bearing in mind I hammered it on the PS4 a couple of years ago. No news on the shop. I was expecting a phone call this week, didn't happen, so I'll be chasing that up next week. Again, if the weather's rubbish, then it needs doing, but I'll be honest with you, the weather's been quite nice, so I've been out and about, basically filming videos along the canal. I basically walk now all the way from, where's that picture? I will warn you, that picture's coming up again, I do apologise in advance. But yeah, what am I doing there? What? Fall Guys is fun, I'll be honest with you. It's a fun game, but it's a game that you're better playing when you've had a few bevies. But I'm like level 1 on the Xbox because I've never played it on the Xbox, but I'm actually quite good at it. So I'm a bit like what do they call them? I've even put it on the title of it. It's only a 15-minute video. A ringer. you know, I look like, oh, he's got no experience, don't know what he's doing, and then I'm kind of, you know, doing quite well. I'm keeping up with the guys who've been on it a while. No, I don't want any claims against me when you know, I don't mess with my groupies. That would be an awful thing to do. I mean, look what's happened to all these pop stars now. So I don't play with viewers. Oof, God no. No, none of that. No. To be fair, Fall Guys, I've played with a mate on Fall Guys, just to clarify, and it's not a great game to play two-player, but Battlefield 2042 was, so I'm waiting for him to send me a message again, hopefully over the weekend. Well, there's hours of me playing games. I don't understand why people watch people play games. I seem to play games than watch people play games, if that makes sense. But people like watching me play games because I'm not that good. And I think that's part of the fun. Plus, I don't take it too seriously as well. There was a bit in Battlefield where I jumped off a building and parachuted down and landed in a squad of the enemy who all just turned around and shot me. And I just laughed because I thought that was hilarious, that I'd done something so stupid. So yeah, I don't, well, in life I don't take things seriously. I mean, God, look at that picture there. You know, I walked down the canal looking like that. I mean, I don't take myself seriously at all. So yeah, you've got to, life's too short to be serious. Some things you have to be serious about, obviously. We've covered them tonight. But other things, nah, I just take the mickey. And I take the mickey out myself more than I do anywhere else. I mean, look at what I'm wearing now, for God's sake. So yeah, I will be playing games, I will be doing more stuff, so keep watching and keep that little notification thing on as well. There's a few more KFC reviews coming up because I've got a backlog of them, and there's 2 canal journeys, and there's about 3 Let's Go To videos as well, and there's 4 cider reviews that I haven't done that need to go up. Bus travelling, it's Sunday when it actually starts, so I'm going to do it on Monday, because let's be honest, Sunday service is rubbish. So I'm going to hopefully do it on Monday, because the weather's not meant to be great. So just being on a bus all day, or various buses all day, going around, will be fun. I might do a couple of live streams when I get to places, but they'll only be short ones. But most of it will be pre-record, and then I'll edit it and stick it up probably that night. So that's happening as well. Anyway, that is it for tonight. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. And all being well, I will see you again soon. Until then, bye.